Hello.
Hi, Archie. How are you?
Good.
We are going to start this book today, okay?
Okay.
All right. This is one of my favorites. It's called
Yes, my favorites too.
Midnight on the Moon. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Here it comes. Okay, can you see it?
Yes.
Great. So this is a series, a new series that you and I have not read together before. This is called the Magic Treehouse series.
No. I just read 1 to 8.
Oh, good. Great. Well,
No, I just read 1 to 7.
I think there are more than 50 books in this series. So
Yes, there are 55.
55?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot. So the author of this series is called Mary Pope Osborne. And something I noticed in books 1 to 8 is that she likes to have a kind of a big mystery that takes 4 books to solve. So, for example, we're going to learn in this book today that Jack and Annie, the two characters, have been looking for things that begin with the letter M.
Yes, but they need to find their friend.
That's right. So with these books, there's usually 4 books that go together. And even though each book has its own story with its own beginning, middle, and end, there's also a bigger thing going on that takes 4 stories before they finish what they're looking for. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the table of contents because one of the things I like.
Oh, they're going to find the Morang, their friend, Morang.
Morgana, yeah. So when I look at a book and I'm trying to decide on the book, actually, I'm going to show the book to you. Okay, when I'm looking at a new book, I look at the front cover. I look at the back cover. The back cover says, 3, 2, 1, blast off. The magic treehouse whisks Jack and Annie off to the moon and the future. So it's a little bit science fiction. Their mission? To find the last M thing that will free Morgan from the spell. Can they do it before the air in their oxygen tanks runs out? Will the mysterious moon man help them out? And why is Peanut the mouse acting so strange? But what they tell us in the back of the book, if I'm looking at this book in the library and I'm trying to decide if I want to read it, one of the things I notice are several questions, and the questions will be answered in this book. So when I'm looking at these questions, I'm thinking, well, that's interesting. They have oxygen tanks that might run out of air. What will happen? There's a moon man that might help them, or he might not. And there's a mouse named Peanut. And they're looking for an M, something that begins with the letter M. So when I look at the back of the book, it helps me have an idea of what's going to happen in the story. And that helps me know if I want to read it. Something else I like to do is I like to look at the table of contents. And I might scan it, kind of look over it to see, what are the names of some of these chapters? There's By Moonlight, Space Motel, that's interesting. Open Sesame, that's interesting. Moon Rabbits, rabbits on the moon. Hang On, High Jump, The Moon Man, One Star to Another, Morgan, and Earth Life. And then the last thing I do when I'm trying to decide if a book is a good fit for me, what I tell my students is to pick a page and try reading that page and count on your hand to see how many words are difficult. So every time you come to a word that you can't quite figure out, maybe you don't know how to say it or you don't know what it means, you hold up a finger. And if at the end of the page you're holding up 5 fingers, then this book is not a good fit. We are not quite ready for it yet. So that's
but the reader, but all of the Magic Tree House English book, all the words are not difficult. They're
good. Yeah,
very easy.
I think this is a good level for you. And also, when I am reading a book out loud, we can go even with a harder level, like Geronimo Stilton is a harder level. Geronimo Stilton is maybe even a 3rd grade or 4th grade level book. But when I am reading it out loud, it's okay for us to do that. All right, so now I'm going to share my screen and we will go ahead and get started. Okay. So because this is book number 8, they've already had books 5, 6, and 7 to find other things that begin with the letter M, but the author is going to go ahead and tell us about that here. Okay, so here we can see our 2 main characters who you know because you have read many of these books, and this is Jack and Annie, and they're brother and sister, and we can see the leaves from a tree, and we can see they're in some sort of it looks like a house.
A magic tree house. That is a magic tree house.
Yeah, it's a tree house. So they're up high in a tree. All right, now this word right here, prologue. Prologue is the chapter that comes before chapter 1. It's like chapter 0. And it gives us some information that we need to know before the beginning of the story. Before we start reading the story, the author wants to introduce us to the setting, characters. The author wants to tell us a little bit about the characters, the setting, and maybe what's been happening in the last 3 stories if we need that information. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. I want you to tell me right here, Archie, what's the setting of this story so far?
Frog Creek.
Frog Creek, that tells us the name of the place where they are. And the other part of the setting is, when does this happen? So when is this story happening so far?
Yeah.
It tells us right here in this paragraph. When is this happening?
Summer day.
That's right, one summer day. So we know it's summertime. We know it's during the day. We know that it's in a tree house. We know that it's in a place called Frog Creek, Pennsylvania. And now we're about to meet the characters. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the tree house. So who are the characters?
Jack and Annie.
How old is Jack?
8 years old. But they didn't say another character.
Well, not yet, but hang on. So far,
The mouse. They didn't say the mouse.
So far we have Jack and Annie. Okay, so that's who we have so far, Jack and Annie. Okay, the tree house was filled with books and it was magic. Remember, when a word is in italics, we need to stretch it out so that it's a big deal, right? It was magic. It could go any place that was in a book. That's what makes it magic. It could go anywhere if it was in a book. All Jack and Annie had to do was to point to a picture and wish to go there, right? So that tells us two things that they had to do. One thing they have to do is point to a picture. And what's the other thing?
Wish they can go. And wish,
Right.
you point to a picture and said, I wish I can go there, and you go there.
Wow. Pretty
Because
cool.
and you point there, I wish I could go there, and the treehouse will have the wind will be stronger and stronger, and the treehouse will appear at you want to go there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. In fact, the way the author describes the wind begins to blow and the treehouse begins to spin, she does the same words in every book. So it's really fun for the reader to look for those words. And the reader will say, I know what's going to happen. Well, they have visited dinosaurs, knights, an Egyptian queen, pirates, ninjas, and the Amazon rainforest. Those are places they went to in books 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Along the way, they discovered that the treehouse belonged to, here's another character, Morgan Le Fay. Morgan was a magical librarian, so she was in charge of a library of books from the time of someone named King Arthur. She traveled through time and space. That means she could travel from the past to the future, back to the past, from one place to a different place. That's what makes it magic, gathering books for her library. So she would go look for books for her library in the future, in the past, in all different places on Earth and in space. So this is a very interesting character we have.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So we're very interesting. So her name is Morgan Le Fay. Well, one day, we're going to come to a little bit of a problem here, I think. Let's check. One day, Jack and Annie found a note that said Morgan was under a spell. Dun, 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 dun. That's a problem. Jack and Annie set out in the magic treehouse to find 4 special things that would free her. So those 4 things are in books 5, 6, 7, 8. This is book 8, so they will find the 4th thing. So this is an important information for us to have before this story starts. And that's why it's in the prologue. Now this problem is kind of the big problem. Okay, Morgan was under a spell. That's the big problem that will take 4 stories to fix. But in those 4 stories, each one will have its own problem, events, and solution. Okay, so with the help of a mouse named Peanut, Jack and Annie found the first thing in old Japan, the second in the Amazon rainforest, and the third in the Ice Age. Ooh. Now, Jack, Annie, and Peanut are ready to find the last thing in this story called Midnight on the Moon. I don't know if you remember, do you remember what we call it when we've got 2 words that start with the same sound? I think you gave me 3 syllables and I think I need 4. I need 5. Do you remember what we call it? Oh, you can tell us. Do you remember what this word is? Alliteration.
Alliteration.
Yeah, alliteration is when we have 2 words next to each other or near each other that begin with the same sound. And I think it's interesting that both of these start with the sound the M, right? When actually when they are looking for 4. Where does it tell us that they are looking for 4? Oh, it just says 4 special things. Okay, here it says 4 special things. All right, so here we are at the beginning of our story, chapter 1. It's called By Moonlight. Jack, whispered a voice. Jack opened his eyes. He saw a figure in the moonlight. Wake up, get dressed. It was his sister, Annie. Jack turned on his lamp. He rubbed his eyes. Annie was standing beside his bed. She wore jeans and a sweatshirt. She looks ready to go. She's not wearing pajamas.
Pajama.
Let's go to the treehouse, she said. And Jack says, what time is it? Asked Jack. He put on his glasses. Don't look at your clock, said Annie. Jack looked at his clock. Oh man, he said, it's midnight. It's too dark. Midnight is the middle of the night, 12 o'clock at night. No, it isn't. The moon makes it bright enough to see, said Annie. Wait till morning, said Jack. No, now, said Annie. We have to find the fourth M thing. I have a feeling that the full moon might help us. The full moon is when the moon is a big circle in the sky at night. That's nuts, said Jack. This is figurative language. When we say that's nuts,
You drive me nuts. You
Yeah.
drive me banana.
not that one. That's a different one. This one means that's crazy.
Yes.
I don't believe it. I want to sleep. You can sleep when we come back home, said Annie. No time will have passed. This is an important point from the story from every Magic Treehouse book, that when their treehouse leaves and goes someplace and they have their adventure, when they come back, no time will have passed. No time will have passed. So if they leave at 12:01, when they come back, it will be 12:01 or maybe 12:02, but it'll be about the same time. Jack sighed. Oh, brother, he said, but he got out of bed. Yay, whispered Annie. Meet you at the back door. She tiptoed out of Jack's room. Jack yawned, right? Oh. He pulled on his jeans and sneakers and a sweatshirt. He put his notebook and pencil into his backpack. This is something that Jack always has, right?
Yes. He
Jack-
always writes things on his notebook.
Yes, he likes to write things on his notebook. Jack and Annie are very different characters. They do not look at these adventures the same way. One of them is more careful and the other one is more, let's go. One of them is more, I think we should make a plan. I think we should think about this, make a plan, be careful. And the other one is like, we don't need a plan. Let's go.
It's Annie.
That's right. So Jack has his notebook and pencil. Then he crept down the stairs because he does not want to make any noise. Why do you think they're being so quiet?
Because they don't want to let mom and dad know the treehouse, and they always go there.
Yeah, because they're supposed to be sleeping, right? Annie opened the back door. Quietly, they stepped outside. Wait, said Jack, we need a flashlight. No, we don't. I told you, the moon will light our way, said Annie. And she took off, right? Took off running. Jack sighed, then followed her. Annie was right, thought Jack. The moon was so bright that he could see his shadow. Everything seemed washed with silver. This is kind of an interesting expression right here. Washed with silver. Nothing outside is washed with silver. No, that does not have literal meaning. That's figurative meaning, right? Which means it's something different. It's just the author was trying to figure out, how can I, what phrase can I use? What description can I have? What words can I pick that will help the reader see what it looks like outside when it is the middle of the night, but the moon is so bright that everything just looks almost like silver from the light of the moon. And so the author thought, I'm just going to say that it's like everything that you see looks like it has been washed with silver. It hasn't, but she uses those words because she thinks that it would help us, the reader, kind of have a picture of how cool it looks outside at night. Soon they left their street. Annie led the way into the Frog Creek woods. It was much darker under the shadows of the trees. Jack looked up, searching for the treehouse. There, said Annie. The magic treehouse was shining in the moonlight. Annie grabbed the rope ladder and started climbing up. Careful, go slowly, said Jack. He followed her up the ladder and into the treehouse. Moonlight streamed through the window. So now they're in the treehouse, and coming in the window is the light of the moon. And that light from the moon came through the window, and it shone on the letter M that shimmered like like it's sparkling from the light of the moon, shimmered on the wooden floor. It shone, this is the light of the moon, the moonlight, shone on the 3 M things that rested on the M on the floor. A moonstone from the time of the ninjas, a mango from the Amazon rainforest, and a mammoth bone from the Ice Age. So we know that we've got this M number 1, M number 2, and M number 3. We need just one more M thing, said Annie, to free Morgan from her spell. Squeak,
said Logmouth, said Tina.
Peanut, said Annie. In the dim light, dim means even though there is moonlight, it's not easy to see. It's a very, it's like a little bit dark. There's a little bit of light. In the dim light, Jack saw a tiny mouse. That means the mouse must be a girl. She sat on an open book. We know about those open books. Maybe there's a picture. You didn't expect to see us this late, did you? Said Annie. Who was Annie talking to?
The mouse.
Yeah, she picked up Peanut, and Jack picked up the open book. So, where are we going this time? Annie asked him. Jack held the book up to the moonlight. Uh-oh, he said. I knew we should have brought a flashlight. I can't read a thing. He could make out diagrams. I'm going to show you one in just a minute. And shadowy pictures, but he couldn't read a word. Look at the cover, said Annie. The letters were bigger on the cover. Jack squinted at them. That's when you close your eyes and you're looking really, through really small slits in your eyes. It's called
Hello, Moon,
he said. Annie gasped. There they are going up to the treehouse. You can see the big full moon right here behind them. Now remember, a gasp is when you're like, oh! Annie gasped. We're going to the moon? Of course not, said Jack. It's impossible to go to the moon without tons of equipment. We need lots of stuff. Why? And then Jack says, there's no air. We couldn't breathe. Not only that, we would boil to death if it was day and freeze to death if it was night. Jack knows a lot of things about a lot of things because he's a reader and he takes notes and he learns about things. And he knows that on the moon, there's no air that people need for breathing, and that during the day, it is so hot, he said you would boil to death. And at night, it is so cold, you would freeze to death. Oh.
But if later, I wish I could go and they go. The magic treehouse will make them a spacesuit.
It'll take care of them.
Yes,
Okay.
the magic treehouse will make them a spacesuit. Will make them a spacesuit.
Well, Annie says, "Yikes," said Annie. "So where do you think we are going?" "Maybe a place where people train to be astronauts," said Jack. Train means learn how, like going to school. "That sounds neat," said Annie. "Yeah," said Jack. He had always wanted to meet astronauts and space scientists. The astronaut is the person who actually, you can see them right here, they actually go in the rocket ship up into outer space. Annie says, "So say the wish," said Annie. Jack opened the book again. He pointed to a picture of a dome-shaped structure. "I wish we could go there," he said. Dun, 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 dun.
They're going to the moon.
The wind. This is the part where the author writes the same thing in every treehouse book. So you might already know this by heart.
The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was silent. Silent.
Absolutely
Silent.
as quiet and still as silence could be. Okay, my turn, because I love reading this part. The wind started to blow. The treehouse started to spin. It, that's the treehouse, spun faster and faster and faster. Then everything was silent. Absolutely silent. As quiet and still as silence could be. Ooh. Oops, I didn't mean to turn the page here. The next chapter is called Space Motel, and this is where we're going to be stopping here in just a minute. Do you want to tell me what color star you would like?
Blue?
Blue?
Yes.
Okay. One word I want to mention to you, which I think was back here. We're going to be talking in the next chapter about this word right here. So we're going to come back to this word. This is what a diagram is. Okay, so we'll be coming back to look at that. And so here we're going to be tomorrow on the Space Motel. A motel is a place where people can sleep. That's not their house, and it's not a tent. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit stop share. I don't know, what should we say for this book for goodbye? Instead of saying so long, cheddar chip, maybe we can say, let's see what those words are here in this book. We have wind started to blow, treehouse started to spin, everything was silent. I don't know if any of those words are good words for saying goodbye. We might have to think about that.
Me too.
Maybe for today, we'll just say, so long.
Chit.
Bye, Archie.